household names, familiar
The
faces.
Emirates FA Cup trophy will now be delivered beachside by two club community heroes. Please welcome Crystal Palace
Trophy being brought out here.
And Manchester City's Lucy Gaskell-Millward.
It glistens and gleams in the sunshine. Has been very hot actually. We're due to kick off at 4:30 British summer time, local time, and that's an advantage to the players. I think, Stuart, that 2 hours before it was very, very warm. There was no shade on the pitch at all.
No, there's quite a bit of shade on the pitch now. As you said, the players will be pleased with that. It was really hot. But what an entrance for these players to come into here.
For Palace, it's possibly tremendous finish to a season which they had a terrible start. No wins in their opening 8 Premier League games, only 3 points. Now they are here and need from their last 2 league games just 1 point to reach 50 for the first time in the Premier League. Whereas City, after their historic 4 titles win in a row, are only 6th in the table, way below their expectations. Erling Haaland, no less, describing the campaign as horrific. But now there is silverware in sight for the citizens. Teams lined up for the presentation. Her Royal Highness the Prince of Wales, the FA patron, and maybe a bit reluctantly shaking the hands of Crystal Palace players because they knocked out his team, Aston Villa.
Yeah, he wasn't here for that game, but they didn't play particularly well, Aston Villa. And Crystal Palace were brilliant. We talked about some of the attacking players. Kamada in midfield, I thought, on that occasion was brilliant, winning the ball back and allowing those front players to go and do their thing.
Just got a glimpse of the FA chair, Debbie Hewitt, MBE. Just allowing the air to clear a little bit to improve the visibility on those high up in the stands. But it's such a unique occasion. Slightly skewed now in terms of the domestic calendar. Not the final weekend of the season, but there are no Premier League games today. And the Football League has finished apart from the playoffs. So it's a standalone Saturday, but not an end-of-season event as it's been for so many of its 144 stagings. Not always. For the City fans, well, they're used to being here. 31 times at the new Wembley alone. Many of them will have done all 31.
Please be upstanding if you're able and respectful of the national anthem performed by Sienna Marcos and the massed bands of His Majesty's Royal Marines.
We rise for the national anthem. Stuart Atwell is the referee. And of course, Pep Guardiola is the Manchester City manager.
We start with Crystal Palace.
Getting his wits against the Austrian
Number 1,
Oliver Glasner. Oliver's army, as Palace have styled themselves. Here's the team news. Palace welcome back Adam Wharton, the vital component of their midfield. He's missed the last game, so Oliver Glasner is able to name the same starting 11 as in the semi-final. Eberechi set the ball rolling at Wembley. In fact, he has scored in each of the club's last 4 games. The only players with previous FA Cup final experience are on the bench. Eddie Nketiah, a winner with Arsenal, and the runners-up Will Hughes with Watford, Ben Chilwell with Chelsea, and Joel Ward, who played in Palace's last final back in 2016.
And number 26, Chris Richards.
Well, Manchester City's iconic striker Erling Haaland hurt an ankle in the quarter-final at Bournemouth and only returned to action last week. The Norwegian has never scored at Wembley. From their semi-final line-up against Nottingham Forest, Akanji comes in for Matis Nunes as right back, or as one of the full-backs anyway. Kevin De Bruyne for Ilkay Gundogan in midfield. Jeremy Doku for Jack Grealish. Rico Lewis, who opened the scoring in the semi, isn't in the team sheet at all. There is a league game, an important one coming up in midweek, and he is out to accommodate Haaland's return. 6 of this starting 11 already have FA Cup winners' medals in their trophy collection.
Number 25, Manuel Akanji. Wearing 26,
Well, last season City were beaten here by a club which had finished 7 places beneath them. The equivalent gap is 8 places today, assuming that City move back up to 4th with their midweek win. Of course, they're a game light of those around them in the table. It's good to see, Stuart, that somehow with all the Blues involved, the teams are wearing their normal kits, which does add a certain edge to the rivalry.
Absolutely. The supporter will be pleased with that. It's the kits that you know the club's for. And what a sight that is at the Crystal Palace end, the red and blue.
Emirates FA Cup final!
Well, Palace longer in the huddle. City lined up, ready to go, giving us a little early glimpse of the formation with O'Reilly at left back, Akanji at right back. But what interests Stuart, I'm sure, is Kevin De Bruyne and Bernardo Silva. It's 2 central midfield players. Neither of them you would call a holding or defensive midfield player.
Yeah, both can be got at if players run beyond them. But what they will be looking to do is control the game. Up against Kamada and Wharton. Marmoush will have a key role playing in behind Haaland.
So away we go. A new design of ball. Coloured silver. Out of respect for the silverware. A great famous piece of silverware that is on offer for the winners here at Wembley today.
Early clash of heads here. It was Sarr that went up for the header. But Vardiol, the player that went down, he won the ball. Complete accident, but not what you want right at the start. It's actually Mateta that makes the jump. It's on the second time it comes back in, I think.
Vardiol is up. Here's Ruben Diaz. Nico O'Reilly has had an excellent development season getting into the team in the Premier League. He Scored against Crystal Palace, racing that 5-2 win at the Etihad Stadium, and he's really contributed in this FA Cup run.
Just has that bit of pace, Marmouche, to get there first before Gay. O'Reilly will tuck in. Already we've seen him, though he's playing as left back, he goes into a more central area. Kanji, I think, will play, or make up a back three at times.
Remarkably, Palace have only conceded the one goal in this FA Cup run. That was against Millwall. Wes Harding was the player. Guardiola. What Palace did so well against Aston Villa here in the semi-final was let them come at them and steal the ball and counter-attack with pace. You would imagine Pep Guardiola's thinking, well, we're not going to fall into that trap, but on the other hand, when they've got the ball, they've got to make sure they keep the back door closed. They've certainly got the ball in these opening exchanges here.
What he has gone with in the wide areas is pace. That's not always the case. Doku and Savinho both can go past defenders.
Guardiola, who did score in the semi-final. And they were a little bit lucky against Nottingham Forest, who rattled the frame of the goal a few times. Savinho out on that far side. Doku down beneath us. Supporting O'Reilly here. He's quite comfortable moving into midfield. He is actually a midfield player by choice. He's found a position that he can get into the team on a regular basis. Savinho thought he was the filling in the sandwich. The referee didn't.
Kamada, the player that was in there, actually passed it out of play, but he's got a defensive role to play in that central midfield area.
Guardiola. The game settling into quite an anticipated shape, really. City setting the agenda. Kanji going on. And not involved by Savinho. Neatly done by Bernardo Silva. And here's De Bruyne. On his way out of the club, of course. 2 more league games to go after this. There's many admirers who want to see him end his FA Cup career with Manchester City, holding the trophy itself, but that's picked up by Eze. I don't think it was a deliberate attempt to stop the counter-attack. I don't know, Stuart, you might see it differently.
No, absolutely. Akanji was put under a bit of pressure by the pass from Kevin De Bruyne. He starts to go for the ball. He did leave his leg there, but I think the referee's absolutely right not to give the yellow card.
Richards, the American, in the back three. With Lacroix and Mark Gay. A strange thing to say, but if you know the English weather, you might understand it. Nothing to do with the atmosphere, which is very strong at the end of the ground in the shade. The difference in temperature from the sunlit part of the pitch and the other part of the ground is quite noticeable.
Well, even in our position, we came in with shirt sleeves, ended up with our top coat on.
Here's De Bruyne finding a little bit of space, trying to put it to good use. The pass, looking for Savinho. De Bruyne's on it quickly, get towards Haaland! And it's kept out by Henderson on the stretch. Erling Haaland in his 6th game at Wembley, looking to open his account.
But it's brilliant from De Bruyne. Trying to play the ball around the corners to start with. Got the return pass, and what a ball he plays in. Not too much else Haaland can do there.
Henderson was brilliant here in the semi-final. De Bruyne's next job is to take the corner and maybe eye up Erling Haaland again. They scored at this end from a corner. It was Guardiol in the semi against Forest. Blocked by Mitchell. Bernardo Silva has stayed back. Guardiol. Now O'Reilly. That's Henderson's ball. Looks as though he might have carried it out. He has. He needed a shout from a teammate just to let it go.
Yeah, I think he was going to let it go, then just at the last minute he changed his mind. Marmoush was coming round the back. That's probably what he was worried about. As you see, he couldn't keep it in play. It wasn't a particularly good ball played in by O'Reilly.
It's another corner for Manchester City. A bit of dip on it. He gets his head to it. Might be round the back here. Behind Mateta at the near post. De Bruyne wins it back. That turnover could have been very dangerous for Crystal Palace.
Well,
De Bruyne has started well.
Yeah, they have. The unfortunate thing for Kevin De Bruyne is that all the players were racing out of the box to get back to the halfway line, worried about the counter-attack. So there's only one Man City player in the box and 5 Palace players there.
Ruben Dias threatening to shoot. Long-range shots are not very much part of Pep Guardiola's philosophy. Munoz, who's such an athletic player on the right-hand side. And the same applies to Mateta up front. He'll run and run. Stefan Ortega in City's goal in an FA Cup final yet again. De Bruyne. It's only the 10th time in the FA Cup history that have been a team in 3 consecutive finals. The most recent, I think you might well remember, it's in very recent memory, Chelsea, who lost all 3 at the start of this decade. Kanji.
I think I'm right in saying Arsenal also did it in 79, 80 and 81.
They did. It was 78, 79 and 80.
Close.
To be pedantic, yeah. And how about 2001, 2002 and 2003? Which they also managed. Lost. And then 1-1 on the other 2. No foul. City play on. Oliver Glasner raises his arm in protest. Stuart Atwell doesn't look for the whistle. Tightly done by O'Reilly. There again, Guardiol. All the while, Haaland just waits in the middle. Get too much involved in the build-up play. Just there to knock it across the line, and he's not really done that in this FA Cup final already.
Mitchell going and defending out against Savinho. He's going to have to do a lot of that. Hasn't been in the greatest of form, Savinho, of late. Just lost a bit of confidence. I think the same can be said about Doku on certain occasions. They've been given their chance today to make things happen for that man there.
Just taking O'Reilly's very good in the air now, trying to find a block to get Haaland free. And header in the end was a more comfortable save for Henderson this time from Guardiola.
Well, that was a better set play. Guardiola with a fairly comfortable header straight at Henderson.
It's all Manchester City at the moment.
You can actually see that Palace aren't worried about Man City having the ball, but they've got to defend in that 10 yards outside their own box really well. There's the possession, 87% already for the Sky Blues.
Guardiola, Ruben Diaz. Ball played across in front of Palace. Now they'll try and get in behind with Savinho. Was a double ricochet, and it's a goal kick. It's his first season with the club, coming to his end. He hasn't quite, as you say, pulled up all the trees that they were hoping that he would do. Often it's said of Manchester City players coming in under Pep Guardiola, it's the second season where you can see the influence of the coach.
He's had his moments, certainly. There's been some games where he's been excellent.
Here's Mamouche. By Savinho, it's over Haaland off the head of Richards, and it'll be collected here by Doku. He was the scorer in the losing final last season for City. It looked as though they got an overload at the back post, and making sure it wasn't the case was Mitchell.
Well, they work it well. It's a good ball played in as well. And Mitchell's in between two players, defends it really well. Had to.
Well, they're taking the high road at the moment. In the search for the opening goal of the 2025 FA Cup final, Manchester City. Curled in again. It's very nearly another aerial route to the first goal of the evening.
And it's played into that near post area. And Akanji is the player that got up quickest and highest. Just couldn't get it on target.
It was a more difficult header than the Guardiola one a couple of minutes ago. He twisted his neck round it.
Now, these are the interesting times when Crystal Palace have it at the back. And they haven't done it very well.
Manchester City with the familiarity of the occasion, of the venue. Savinho. I think Mamouche might be hard to keep an eye on because Haaland is the obvious target. Mamouche just looking to play off him. Alongside him at the moment, and he has started very well in his first spell at the club. Here's Ruben Diaz, left to right, and back into the middle again, but that one is a little more ill-advised from the City point of view.
We knew they were going to play, or try and play on the counter-attack, Crystal Palace. I'm not sure I expected them to play quite so deep as they have done in this first period of the game. They've got a long way to go if they do want to counter-attack and pose Man City a problem.
Well, it's very different to the way the league game started in Manchester 5 weeks ago, Stuart. This time, they hadn't perhaps got the second goal, but they were all over. Palace were all over City with every counter-attack. They looked as though they were going to score. They scored twice, and it should have been 3, really. Call was a tight one against them, but this is more what they were doing. And here's Munoz, who was very involved then. Oh, it's exactly the same. Eze arrives on the scene, the same as the semi-final, the same as at City, and with their first blow struck in anger, Crystal Palace take the lead.
Goal scorer for Crystal Palace, number 10.
But this all comes about because Mateta holds the play up. When Crystal Palace go from back to front, which they did on that occasion, Mateta holds the play up. It allows others to join. Here it is, the long ball played forward. Mateta does brilliantly just to hold it up, set the play up. Kamada with the return pass. Now they've got problems, Man City. And it's Munoz who plays a really good ball in, and what a finish from Eza. Times his run to perfection. He's picked out brilliantly. Kanji can't get there. Exactly what Palace were hoping for.
It's sped past Ortega. If you wanted a visual to tell you what Eze's game is all about, that is it. And they've seen it many times before. And he's done it many times before. Brilliant timing in terms of the strike, in terms of the run, and in terms of the game.
But it's great centre-forward play from Mateta. They're not going to have that much of the ball, but when it is played from back to front, if your centre-forward can get hold of it and shield it and bring others into play, then Palace will pose a threat.
Totally against the direction of the traffic in the first 15 minutes. But it's a cameo. It's a postcard from South London. This is what Palace have been doing. Doku. It's a lot of work. O'Reilly. Spinning shot. That's very much Marmoushi's game. Here's Guardiola.
I saw Marmoush at the start of the season playing for Eintracht Frankfurt, where he was absolutely superb. Saw him against Bayern Munich, where he caused them all sorts of problems with his pace. Could run with the ball, good finisher as well.
Here's De Bruyne. Trying to slide it through to Haaland. We've hardly seen Walton yet, and he's dispossessed here. Trying to flex their muscles. Now that's what he's got, quality of the passing. On to Mitchell. Here come the Eagles flying again. It's behind Mateta though. Back to Eze. Out to Munoz. Oh, but for Ortega, Ismail Assar would have made it 2-0. Palace need to get numbers back. They've got 3 upfield, which they haven't had while City have been controlling the game. And Stuart Atwell has a look at that. Mitchell lets it run out. He's not been penalised, but Sarr sweeping in at the near post.
Yes, a good ball played out wide. Munoz high up the field, and he plays the ball into the right sort of air. And again, the timing of the run, getting across the front of the defender, sweeps it towards goal. He's just a bit unlucky. It goes straight to the keeper. He was the hero of the semi-final, one of the heroes of the semi-final, wasn't he, with his pace and counter-attacking ability.
Glass header. O'Reilly and Walton trying to pass it. Was a millimetre or two off him, and Sarr couldn't collect. We're back to where we were before the goal. Palace sitting in. And waiting. Setting the trap if they can to break again. Guardiola. City's 55th game of the season, compared to Palace's 46th. City have averaged 2 goals a game. And they'll need 2 to turn this around. De Bruyne. Ruben Diaz. Savinho. Gets it back from Akanji. Mitchell sticking with him. Eze intercepting. Not panicking. Got away with it a little bit. It's gone out for a Palace throw.
But they are doubling up well in those wide areas. When the ball does go out to Savinho, to Doku, not just the wing-back is getting out there, the wide attacking players, the midfield players, they're getting back in really good positions at the moment, Palace.
And now they're breaking again. Munoz wants it a little bit earlier, but he's still got it. He looks for Mateta. Swung all the way to Eze. Sal's not picked up in the middle. The markings are a little bit, it's got a bit tighter now from the City central defenders. Here's Kamara. Cross goes Akanji. De Bruyne picks a route and gets City onto the front foot. It's a long ball for Haaland, but Henderson hasn't got there. That long leg of Erling Haaland has given Crystal Palace a massive problem here. Marmoush. The solution was found from the team from Selhurst Park. Sarr giving chase, and he can run. And he wins a throw. Great work for the team from the front man.
Well, it was all happening, wasn't it? One end, Haaland nearly got in. Ball just played over the top. Goalkeeper makes a bit of a mess of it here. Starts to go outside his ball, and he's trying to put his hand out when the ball was outside the box.
Did he touch it?
Yeah, he did. He definitely did.
Well, this is a big moment in the context of the first half of the first half of this FA Cup final.
He deliberately played it outside the box from what it looked like to me.
And Stuart Atwell is getting advice from the VAR. Jared Gillett. And he's heading to the screen, I think. No, he's heading for a drink. Kanji saying, what's happening?
So you're not going to see it from this angle. You can't see the line. So Haaland got a slight touch on it.
Well, we're hearing in our ear the on-field decision is correct from VAR's point of view, and the game will continue. And Dean Henderson talking to Ben Chilwell, they're one of the substitutes. He would have had a good view from that sideline where they were warming up.
It must have been touch and go. Again, we don't see it from the right angle. But that looked to me as though he was outside the box as he pulled that away.
Well, I think he thought he was outside the box. He had the air of a worried goalkeeper. But it was the first real long ball for Erling Haaland to chase. He peels off Marmoush here. Mitchell scraped it away. Mateta trying to get away. Richards deliberately impede Doku. The referee says no.
Doku, I think, probably plays it between the... No, he doesn't quite play it between the legs. Yeah, he's actually diving there, isn't he? He realised the next defender was going to come across and win it. He just threw himself to the ground. Good refereeing.
Since the goal, there have been one or two moments when Palace have engaged a bit more, if you like, ambitiously than they were doing before they scored, and there have been a couple of opportunities, particularly that incident involving Dean Henderson, from turnovers where they have been a bit short of numbers. Tenacity from Tyreek Mitchell.
Well, they took a big gamble there, Man City. They tried to play almost offside on the halfway line. And Mitchell came from deep. Kanji just had enough pace to get there. But this is really intriguing, isn't it? 27 minutes in, Man City all the possession. But every time Crystal Palace get it forward, they look as though they're going to cause a problem.
And Richards is the man with the strong arms. Allen jumping for it, not really getting it. Going out to Wharton. Difficult ball to hit. Richards on the retreat, but finds himself needed again. And he cuts that out. It's important for Palace that he did. And Marmoush would have been away.
Almost a very good ball from Savino with the outside of his left boot.
Well, that action area really sums up, I think, what everybody watching would agree with. But that 9% has led to the one goal so far.
And a chance as well for Sarr.
Here's Doku. De Bruyne. And Bernardo Silva can play little passes around pretty much anybody in world football, you think, on that part of the pitch, but will they be able to find the kind of passes that City are looking for now to repair the damage? Goal kick.
When he's tried to go down the line, Savino, he hasn't got the better of Mitchell so far. Mitchell's defended it well. Here's the goal again. Times his run, inside of the right boot. Perfect connection on the volley. No stopping that for Ortega. But he just seemed to know where the ball was going to go. Great anticipation, awareness, and then the ability and technique to finish it.
Yes. For the most famous Manchester City fan. That shaking moment. Noel Gallagher. It's been that kind of season for those who follow the team in the light blue. Come up short in other competitions. They're still battling to get a position to qualify for the Champions League again via the league. And, 5 teams, top 5 in the Premier League, go into the Champions League. City are out of that top 5 at the moment, but with a game in hand. That counts quite a lot at this stage of the season. Towards Marmoush. By Gueye. There's nearly a chance for Sarr to nick that and set off on a sprint. Instead it's Doku. Might get it again. O'Reilly's right in there, Doku's right in there. It's a real scramble and somehow it's run through to Henderson.
Once again, Doku's not getting the better of Munoz at the moment. Now there's a chance of playing the ball forward. He didn't look forward on that occasion, Munoz. Again, Man City were trying to play offside on the halfway line, and there was 3 really good runs in behind them.
Lacroix. Past the half-hour mark, and the underdogs lead. Flipped forward by Bernardo Silva. Finney has to come back to rescue it. De Bruyne.
See, sometimes I'm not sure why a fullback wants to go into central midfield like O'Reilly did there. He just blocked everything up so that Kevin De Bruyne couldn't see a pass into Marmoush or Haaland.
Guardiola. Doku. Double up on him. Leaves space elsewhere. Ruben Diaz for Haaland. Jumped tightly against him. Jumping up against him was Richards. De Bruyne. Stopped by Mateta. It's a foul. So much of the game has been played thus far in this sort of area. Now Bernardo Silva going forward. Big shouts by City for a penalty.
There it is. He's late on it, Mitchell. The referee got some assistance from the assistant on the far side. The referee couldn't see it, but it was definitely a penalty. Great run from Bernardo Silva, but not good defending. Just didn't need to go to ground there. He knows.
Well, Bernardo Silva, who'd been sitting alongside Kevin De Bruyne, suddenly made a forward burst, and it caught Palace out, it caught Mitchell out. Erling Haaland has not been infallible from the penalty spot. There is still a check going on about the decision.
Here it is again. Bernardo Silva racing into the box. He does go down before the challenge was made, so he's already going down. But you can quite clearly see the defender doesn't play the ball, and that has to be a penalty. It's a silly challenge. He doesn't need to go to ground. Now, is Marmoush taking the ball off Haaland here?
Finally, VAR have confirmed that the decision will stand. And Erling Haaland, who has not scored a goal at Wembley Stadium, and he's 34 minutes into his 6th visit here as a player. Henderson trying to come up with a trick or two from the goalkeeper's manual. So Palace, with their 1-0 lead, very seriously under threat here. The Egyptian. Omar Marmoush taking on the Englishman, Dean Henderson. 10 minutes to go to half-time. Been a lengthy delay. Here goes Marmoush, and it's saved by Henderson. Haaland following it up, and Henderson's there again. Brilliant work from the goalkeeper. City waste the golden opportunity. Crystal Palace still lead. Henderson the hero.
What a double save it is. It's not a great penalty. It's a nice height for the goalkeeper, but he chooses the right way. It's not right in the corner. And then Haaland's trying to play it back into Marmoush. He may well have been offside.
Well, to some extent, this has been City's season. When things have looked good for them, they haven't capitalised. Not to their normal exalted standards anyway. An FA Cup final penalty save, and Dean Henderson is the name.
Well, most times you see goalkeepers save a penalty, it's usually when it's that sort of height. A yard or so off the ground, an easy one for, or easier for them to save those.
Off goes Munoz. Down goes Munoz. In comes a follow-up from Sarr, just running out of room. Well, it's all about him, really. He could have been sent off for an earlier incident, handling the ball outside the area. And he was very much still on when Marmoush hammered in his penalty.
Well, I think he's an excellent goalkeeper, no doubt about that. When it comes to shot stopping, I think the thing that people have questioned is his ability when he does have the ball, or when he's making decisions to come outside his box or not. Not the most athletic of goalkeepers.
After some trials and tribulations and some travels, because he was looking to break through at Manchester United, where he got some first-team football. And, loans at Sheffield United, Nottingham Forest, but he's found a home at Crystal Palace. He's an icon in the eyes of those behind the goal. He's got some more work to do here, maybe. Wharton's there. Munoz. Arteta was making a run, but Wharton wriggles free. Stopped by De Bruyne. Richards. That's not the worst ball we've seen, and Arteta can't quite get there. On the stretch was Guardiola. Well-timed Haaland run, or it will be reviewed if it ends up in the back of the net, this City attack. It's going to. So the first question will probably be everybody asking at half-time is, why did Haaland not take the penalty? Guardiola. O'Reilly. Now Akanji. Bend away safely. Or is it? We're trying to keep it in here. Goal kick safely for Palace.
Well, when Akanji gets the ball there, Marmoush made a run through the middle, but Erling Haaland was way outside the picture. Here's the penalty again. You see Bernardo Silva's going down before actual contact. If Mitchell had stayed on his feet, that wouldn't have been a problem. Haaland had the ball, then gives it to Marmoush. Only those two will know why. He starts behind the line, goes forward, goes to the right side. Good save from the keeper, Henderson.
Well, those are words of sympathy, but they mean you're not getting the next one. Useful ball from O'Reilly, but well defended by Mitchell. Here's Kamada. Eze. De Bruyne. O'Reilly. Manchester City, the serial winners of modern times. Footballing gods created by Guardiola as a team. Towards Haaland, Richards gets some of it, but not a lot of it. Flipped forward by Sarr, a bit of confusion with Ruben Dias, and you can't do that with Mateta around. De Bruyne coming back, others trying to help as well. Well, they can't work it wide to Munoz, who was in his defined position as the right wing-back. I mean, Stuart, let's make no mistake about it, Manchester City have been dominating the ball. They've had a penalty, they've missed it, and Palace scored a very good goal.
And he's caused problems. Every time the ball's played forward, he puts Diaz or Valiol under a lot of pressure. I have to say they haven't handled it very well so far. Whether it's a headed clearance or getting to the ball first. On a couple of occasions they let it bounce. He's been a real threat to them. And for Manchester City, they need more from Sevilla. They need more from Doku. The players brought into the side to go at people, go past people.
Ruben Diaz. Riley. There's been a lot of this from Manchester City. They get it to Sevilla. Patience has been one of the many virtues of the club under Guardiola. Doku, inside Munoz, couldn't touch him. It's an extraordinary reach by Henderson, but the danger's not clear yet. De Bruyne into the crowd, into the Palace crowd, and Palace still lead, and Henderson again has come up trumps.
But that's much better from Doku. This time he found himself in a 1v1 with a bit of space, and he goes past Munoz really easily. Excellent save from Henderson. This looked, we're right behind it, as if it was in. He pushes it up, and then Guehi does the rest. Good defending. Well, there's been some great goalkeeping performances at Wembley in cup finals over the years. You can go, or we can go back all the way, I think, to 1973. I know my dates aren't always good. Jim Montgomery, wasn't it?
1973. And the ultimate underdogs, really, Sunderland, second division team. Leeds were really the top team in the country, full of internationals, and Mateta. The flag will go up, it's obviously offside. There has been the issue over the past few days about Taiwo of Nottingham Forest, who collided with the post when the flag could have stopped the play before it developed into that. That was a right time for the assistant to raise this flag. It wasn't going anywhere near the goal.
Yeah, this has come because Akanji and Mateta got involved. Akanji not too impressed. He was trying to hang on to the ball, then he got shoved to the ground. And he must have just damaged his shoulder as he fell to the ground here, Mateta. Well, that's what he's claiming anyway.
Pat on the back from the referee will cure all problems.
Yep.
Well, they're patting many a back at the moment as half-time is approaching. And Crystal Palace are leading here at Wembley. Kanji to force the ball across. Eze just tucking it towards Mateta and then fouled after that. City are getting a little bit ragged in their challenges here. Frustration starting to show.
3 minutes of additional time.
Here's the first challenge from Kevin De Bruyne. He knows exactly what he's doing. He stepped in the way of Eze. Eze was going to play a little 1-2 round him. Kevin De Bruyne doesn't want to run back. He wants to get on the ball and make things happen. But if you are a central midfield player, you've got to do some defending as well.
Well, we pointed that out right at the start. And Bernardo Silva happier going forward. He won the penalty. Into the 3 added minutes. What a sight that is for those following Crystal Palace from afar. Those who are here representing the South London club are doing it proud, as are the team and particularly the goalkeeper. Kamada. Kanji almost had his pocket picked by Eze. Ortega spins it out to O'Reilly. Ruben Diaz. towards Haaland, and Richards wants to see it out, and he has done. With a potential point of danger dealt with as half-time approaches.
Yeah, Haaland's tried to pull on to Richards on 2 or 3 occasions, and Richards has dealt with it really well. He's good in the air. He's got himself into a good position. And Haaland has really struggled throughout the game, apart from that one run when it looked as though Henderson had handballed it outside the box.
Almost making it awkward here. No foul, and in the end, Munoz gets the distance into the clearance. Mitchell's there. Finally done by Ruben Diaz. A rare touch for him in his own half. He's been striding over the halfway line as the hub of possession for much of the half. Shoulders from the Colombian, but Belgium Doku gets the free kick. Real vital for Crystal Palace that they do see out. There's only a few seconds to go, but you never know. It only takes a second, as they say. And Akanji trying to find something in there for Nico O'Reilly, who'd come in from the left, and it is half-time. And Crystal Palace go into the Wembley dressing room with a goal in the bank and a penalty save alongside it to protect that goal. Stuart Robson.
Well, Crystal Palace played as we expected them to do, quite deep. Try to play on the counter-attack. It worked brilliantly for them for the goal. But Man City, if they are to get back in this game, they've got to get more from their wide players. The front two have to link up with each other, and I think they've got to get more quality into the box and get more runners into the box as well. It's been an interesting first half.
So our final score at the break. It is Crystal Palace 1, Manchester City 0. Oliver Glasner grateful for his goalkeeper. Dean Henderson played twice for England, almost 4 years apart, the two caps. And last was, the second was last October. No changes at half-time. Goal, a delicious one it was from Chiese, separating the two sides. Here's Variol. City look to settle into the rhythm again. Giving them a massive share of possession. 80%. Savinho. Henderson's not got there, but Richards did. Comes out to Doku. Could he find the shot here? There were too many players between him and the goal, and Palace survive. And Henderson this time relieved, having been so often the relief himself. Manchester City pressure in the first half. Great touch from Richards.
Brilliant defending from Richards, but also good play from Savinho.
Tata trying to get in behind Ruben Diaz. Here's Bernardo Silva. Palace drop off again. Variol. Kanji. Mitchell troubled again, and Richards there again. Savinho before he trots back onto the pitch. gesticulating to the City fans to up the noise. Here's Bernardo Silva, Nico O'Reilly, runs out off Haaland.
Well, Savinho, a couple of really good runs from him. Here's the cross into the box, the first one. It's a really good ball, but great defending again from Richards. Times his jump, Haaland can't quite get there. Just gets enough on it. And then when the next ball was played in, which we're not going to see, Savinho had a go at Haaland for not being there in the 6-yard box when he rolled it along the edge of that 6-yard box.
Good hold-up play again from Mateta. And Jose was offside. Kamada not finding as much joy. He's doing his best to help stem the flow here. City is so strong in midfield. He was excellent at doing that in the semi-final. The outstanding performers for Palace on that day. Here, in behind Mitchell again. And Richards can't get to this one. Doku thinks about hitting it first time, then tries to place it. And neither policy pays off.
Well, I said as we came off at half-time, they have to have more from Doku and Savinho. Savinho has now produced 3 really good crosses into the box. Doku didn't make the most of this. You can see what he's trying to do, but gets underneath it. Now Mitchell's got a problem.
Fourth official in the ear from Pep Guardiola. Mateta. Now Sarr. You do feel it is in Palace's favour. They do have the capacity to score again.
Yes.
They've got the tools to finish the job. But whether there's enough of those tools going to be available for use, we'll have to see. City have started the second half better than they played in the first half, to be honest. They had bags of the ball in the first half.
They're going to have to defend a long throw first from this man, who's defended really well. And the ball's been in the other end.
And it comes to Eze, and then hit back by Walton. Struck one of his own players. It was a sight of goal again from the main marksman.
He just can't clear the ball. What a chance that was for him as well on the volley. And it's a Kanji that just gets his body in the way. And another go as well.
Okay, he is down. Well, if we think they've started the second half better, he doesn't, obviously. Well, this is a bit of a concern for Palace. We might get another view. That's the goal. And as a man who's seen things go against his team far more regularly this season, and pretty much since his first season in the club was a bit of a fact-finding mission. But
there's a big moment in the first half. Henderson was outside his box, but he makes a brilliant penalty save after there was a bit of controversy about the penalty given. And he also made a good save when Doku, for the only time maybe in the first half, went inside his man, Munoz, and got a really good shot away.
Well, it's a lengthy stoppage for the Palace captain. What a sight this stadium is when it's full, and you can always tell when part of the ground is filled with fans who haven't been here very often before. I mean, Palace, of course, were here for the semi-final. There's all sorts of protocols that have to be observed. Another former Palace manager on the left back there. There's Roy Hodgson biting his nails. And Mike Summerby alongside Brian Marwood in the Manchester City Tribune of Honour. Well, Gay is on his feet, which is great news for Palace. But just how shaken up he is. There's the managerial team that got them to the final in 1990. Steve Coppell on the left, Alan Smith.
Still doesn't look 100%, does he, Gay?
In a 3-minute stoppage, which will be factored in at the end, of course. So often we do get very late drama because now the stoppage times are calculated with a great deal more efficiency. Okay, he's still not quite ready to come back on. Now he would be entitled to do so. Thomas Tuchel with the internationals coming up. The England manager, in case one of you aren't quite sure. Some of you aren't sure. Of course, the former Chelsea boss. Here's De Bruyne. Palace still down to 10 men. Bernardo Silva. Doku. Guardiola. Ruben Diaz. De Bruyne, and Mateta just scrapes it away off the great man's toes. Gay, so welcome back. Akanji. Guardiola. Ruben Diaz. You get the height of O'Reilly into the equation. Now Doku. Look to pick up their men. They'll shuttle across the city, switch from left to right. Mitchell trying to get tight on Savinho. It's a battle he's been losing in this half, in first time by De Bruyne. How deep Mateta is. With his attack against defence. Marmoush trying the flick header. Fired away by Mitchell, but not to a teammate.
But they are getting more crosses into the box now, Man City. Yeah, got to try and get on the end of them. And 3 really good ones from Savinho. That was from Guardiola, bending the ball into a dangerous area.
Doku squeeze it through. It's another brilliant block to deny Bernardo Silva, who seemed there to have a little bit extra time to slot it home.
Well, Walton didn't go with the runner here, and he's quite clearly onside. There's the recovering challenge, and a good one as well. Kamada. That's how to read the danger. One midfield player gets beaten, the other one gets round on the cover.
Haaland from the penalty spot. O'Reilly goes in ahead of it. Haaland gets his head to it. Henderson can only punch it back to where it's come from. Haaland trying to tease it in again and then trying to smash it in the second time. There's a figure of frustration at Wembley once more.
He's not been involved, mind you. He's not involved in much of the play in recent times, but he's always likely to score goals.
City are unbeaten in their last 7 meetings with Crystal Palace in all competitions, going back to October 2021. But they're losing here in the big one. Richards. well. It's over Mateta. Also, that nearly came to Mateta in the end. Rather scrambled away.
They don't like defending under pressure, do they, some of these Man City players? Saw that in the first half when Mateta was racing onto things. There, Akanji completely missed his kick to start with.
And the strong-armed Chris Richards is here to test them out again, put them under pressure again. There's some danger to it. It's forced in the end by Munoz. They didn't deal with the pressure. And Palace lead 2-0. Can you believe it, Stuart Robson?
Well, you can, because Man City haven't defended well when balls have been played into their box. And it's a simple throw-in. Yes, a good throw-in. And if you don't win the first ball, you've got to win the second ball. And Man City don't do that, and Crystal Palace do. There's the initial throw. They win the first ball, they don't win the second. Oh, now there's the strike. But it's Munoz that follows it up. So he's certainly not offside. Not sure there's going to be too much wrong with this. It's whether Sarr gets a touch on the ball here. You see Sarr is offside. Does the ball hit him there? That's the question.
And was he blocking the goalkeeper's view?
I think this, yeah, it hits him. It hits him. I think from the first viewing we saw there, we haven't seen a second one, but I think that looks as though it could be offside when the ball hits Sarr. It's a brave finish for Munoz. They might just have to hang on here, Crystal Palace.
Well, Munoz is such a danger. It's going to be disallowed. Sarr offside, as you said, Stuart. The City fans that are cheering.
Here comes the throw. And watch Sarr, the number 7. He's in an offside position as that ball. It comes off a Man City player onto him, but he's offside, no question about it. Eventually the right decision is made. He's offside by half a yard. Hits him on the thigh, he's interfering with play. That has to be the decision, offside.
After review.
This is the semi-automated system that's come into top-level English football this season. It gives you the cartoon figure. There's something else going on here. Mark Gay's got to go off. And that's what the concern was. With
Substitution for Crystal Palace.
that head problem.
In the field, number 6, Mark Gay. Being replaced by number 8, Jefferson Lerma.
And now Paddy McCarthy's getting involved on the Crystal Palace bench. Dugout behaviour is something. There's so many of them in the dugout now. It doesn't take. It takes one or two to pick a fight with each other, and we see it far too often. Anyway, it's still as we were with an hour gone. 1-0 to Crystal Palace. Manchester City missing a first-half penalty, and Palace having a potential second goal disallowed correctly for offside.
It's been all action, hasn't it, in this second half, when the ball's actually been in play rather than the stoppages. Interesting to see how they're going to shape up. Lerma is going to play exactly the same position that Gay was playing, left-sided centre-half in a back three. It's not just it's the medics having to go at each other as well. Never a good look.
Savinho. Is the tide beginning to turn Manchester City's way in terms of creating scoring chances. Certainly, they've been swimming with the tide in terms of possession. Here's Guardiola. Jefferson Lerma, who has usually been playing in midfield but can play at the back. So has been filling in when any of the regular back three have been injured. He lost his place in midfield actually because of it.
There's another example of Doku comes in field and the front players in the box never really made any sort of run for him. Marmoush, I think, was anticipating something else. Savinho was out the picture. Haaland was standing still.
Going to run out. Paddy McCarthy been there with the club a long time and will fight their corner. Maybe a bit too literally.
Just trying to swap the one or two players around, I think, here. In terms of where they're playing, Pep Guardiola.
It's a psychologically tough time for Crystal Palace, you feel. They've lost their captain. They've had what they thought was a real celebratory moment of a second goal taken from them. And they've got Manchester City throwing everything they can at them in terms of possession, but with a bit more penetration, particularly down this near side with Savinho. De Bruyne. Kanji. Palace trying to force them back and get up the field. That's what Oliver Glasner will want to see. They don't go too far. It's not as high a line as City were playing in the first half. Certainly a back five as we look at it now. Savinho. Kanji feinting to put it in first time. Savinho. Doing his best, but Savinho keeping going. City keeping going. Guardiola. De Bruyne to Savinho. And he goes on the outside, and that's straightforward for Henderson.
You can see what he was trying to do. He was trying to use the overlapping run, trying to bend it with the outside of his left boot, Savinho. Too close to Henderson. Once again makes a comfortable catch, as you saw from an earlier catch in there. Still 81% possession for Man City. Nothing's changed in this second half.
Lacroix. Teta battling with Guardiola. Ruben Diaz providing the cover. Nice take from Haaland. Can't squeeze it through for Marmoush. And O'Reilly will be cautioned for that.
Oh, it's a silly challenge, isn't it? He's beaten. There's still a lot of defenders back there. It's just a ridiculous yellow card for him. Not sure what else he expected here.
Munoz gave him terrible trouble in the game at the Etihad 5 weeks ago. And Richards trying to find Mitchell. Here's Lerma. It's a well-timed run from Munoz, and Doku does his job, but at the expense of the corner. I don't like tracking back wingers, but he did that well.
Yeah, really good diagonal ball. Put Doku under a bit of pressure. Man City were trying to squeeze up. There's another chance for Crystal Palace to put pressure on Man City from a set play. Lacroix makes his way forward.
Richards is in there. Burma taking on the responsibilities of Gay. Ortega being crowded. Wharton to take. It's a floaty one, deep. And they're still fighting for it. Kamada! Flag was up.
Good attempt though from Kamada. Showing he's a good technical player as well as being good defensively.
Here's a Kanji. De Bruyne coming down on the other side of his game. He went flying in, but no complaints from De Bruyne. He stayed on his feet. Ruben Diaz. And now by Munoz. Look how deep Sarr is. How deep everybody is for Crystal Palace. Trying to set up a Wembley wall here.
So that's when it all slows down, when it comes to a Kanji there.
And goes Mitchell. Now Wharton wants some runners. And the quickest possibly is Sarr. Guardiola. Mamouche. Get threaded in behind, and Sarr's offside. Was there a foul before then? I think there might have been on Wharton.
Yeah, that was really poor play from Man City, giving the ball away so cheaply to Wharton there. Kevin De Bruyne then went into the challenge.
So much a better team, Crystal Palace, when they have Adam Wharton fit. He's only been at the club just over a year. He's already been in the England setup. Wonderful one-touch skills, but not perhaps in a situation in the Wembley final when they're doing most of their work defensively. Mitchell. Kamada. Qua. Munoz involved again. Riley. A bit casual. Munoz hasn't given this up. Riley's got to be careful. The free kick goes in his way because he's been just booked, remember.
That's their out ball, Crystal Palace. They have got time at the back. That big diagonal in behind O'Reilly for the runs of Munoz.
It's an out ball. It's also a threat ball that set up the goal, of course, and scored the one that's been disallowed.
Quite often O'Reilly's starting position is tucked into midfield, as he is at the moment.
Savinho. Pep sticking with his starting lineup. Jeremy Doku, who's made great acceleration here. Oh, and Eze. Responsible really for Palace losing the ball on the edge of their own penalty area. Kanji. Good block of the cross by Mitchell. He's had a mixed day, but when he's been called upon in certain situations, he's done very well. Like then. Bernardo Silva, Kevin De Bruyne, who's coming to the end of his time with the club. Bernardo Silva maybe as well. He's certainly in the senior citizen category. De Bruyne, Haaland. De Bruyne has a swing at it with his left foot. Now Doku, that extra gear to go down the outside, but he doesn't do it this time. Ruben Diaz. City ring fencing the Palace penalty area. Doku again. It's relentless. It's De Bruyne. And it's Wharton's block, and he's got to stop it, the referee. City aren't happy about it. And De Bruyne getting a flea in his ear from Richards about It's a head injury, we've got to stop. Maybe it didn't hit his head.
It hits him on the side of the head.
Yeah.
It's a good strike from Kevin De Bruyne. I think it was fairly straight, so the goalkeeper would have made a save. And I think there's many footballers, ex-footballers around the world that will be saying, when the ball hits you on the head, it's not that much of a problem. If you get an elbow or a clash of heads, then it is a problem.
Yeah, but the legislation has changed now, where players, I'm not saying that Wharton's doing it here, but we do see it, where players drop to the ground, point to the head, believing the referee's got to stop it, and a position of some peril to that team, that player's team, is averted.
Absolutely. That's why Man City players are annoyed. No one will know whether he's hurt or not, apart from Adam Wharton. There's a player that hasn't seen, well, another player that hasn't seen too much action of late.
Ilkay Gundogan, who we saw also scored the 2 goals when City won the Cup 2 years ago, including one after 12 seconds. So what does happen, the physio comes on, the downside of it for the victim, if you want to call him that, is he has to go off for 30 seconds. The chance again against 10 men for Manchester City to peg Palace back. It's up. He's held up well by De Bruyne, dispossessed by De Bruyne. Wharton's not back on. Doku. Bernardo Silva still going. Savinho again blocked by Mitchell. Wharton still waiting for the signal. He's now been waved back on. And here's De Bruyne sliding it through for O'Reilly. Now Doku. And the shot is deflected wide.
Well, O'Reilly's got to hit this with his right foot. It's a great pass from Kevin De Bruyne. On his right foot, he then tries to step over it so he can hit it with his left, and it just allowed them to get back.
Doku. Bernardo Silva. Palace come out at him. Now they can break. And if it's a foul, it's a booking. And Stuart Atwell says it is a foul. But did you notice when De Bruyne played that pass that Wharton was trying to get to him and had to run round the referee? It would have led to all sorts of ramifications, and O'Reilly scored.
Yeah, but the other side of the argument, Wharton was ushered onto the field and then ran 20-30 yards straight at Kevin De Bruyne. Here is the chance, on his right foot, strike it now, right foot. Instead, it takes too long. And they come back and get a good block in.
Well, the changes are being made. Savinho's off and Phil Foden is on.
And also leaving the field, number 7, Omar Mamouche. Replaced by number 13, Claudio Echeverri.
Well, we're going to see Claudio Echeverri. So an interesting roll of the dice from Pep Guardiola. Echeverri's 19, signed from River Plate. What an opportunity it is for him to make his mark in English football.
Well, he's got 14 minutes plus any added on time to make an impression here. He's gone into the same position that Mamouche was playing.
Foden, incidentally, hasn't scored for 4 months. Been in and out of the team. His goal was against Chelsea in mid-January. But he's just got the big game mentality to be the man that City could turn to here. Echeverri wants it back from Foden. it's still 1-0. Many of you watching will say it's still one-sided. The team that is dominating the ball is the team that's losing 1-0. Foden's back here. Kanji. A non-cross.
Well, I'm not sure he's played particularly well today, Kanji. Looks a bit ponderous on the ball. Hasn't always defended balls in behind him particularly well.
Mateta to be replaced by a man who has an FA Cup winners medal, Eddie Nketiah. Signed from Arsenal, with whom he won the trophy 5 years ago.
Mateta's played a big part in the fact that Crystal Palace are 1-0 up now. Held the ball up when he could. He was a constant threat when balls were played in behind, put Man City's defenders under pressure.
Nketiah scored in the 5th round against Millwall, and in the quarter-final against Fulham, at Fulham.
And he set up that 3rd goal for Sarr in the semi-final when he came on with a really nice ball played through.
Good for Lerma. As an experienced campaigner, Jefferson Lerma, 30 years old now, played in England before coming to Palace for Bournemouth. Steve Coppell wondering, hoping. Won the FA Cup as a player with Manchester United. Is Manchester going to be the undoing of Crystal Palace again? All 3 finals. Something special has got to happen for Manchester City in these closing stages, if that's to be the case. Level, of course, if they can manage that extra time. Bernardo Silva. Doku against Munoz. He sort of stumbles past them. Richards is there. Nketiah doing the chasing. Guardiola comes out on top. Bernardo Silva. All the while, Haaland is jogging along the edge of the penalty area. Maybe to be available for a 1-2, or to be there at the far post for a cross, which is where you might find him at the moment.
If Man City are to open up Crystal Palace, it looks to be one main player that's going to do it. This man on the ball now, Kevin De Bruyne. He might be leaving Man City, but he's still their most threatening player. Such a good pass for the ball. He's got that clever instinct when to play the next pass forward, when to bend it into the box.
His script is to hold up the FA Cup at the end of this afternoon. At the moment, there's work to be done. Maybe a set piece. Manchester City's so skillful at scoring from open play. Haaland gets to it, but it's no sort of header really in the circumstances.
Well, he's got a free header. It's not a header on goal, it's not a header back into the danger area. It's a very weak attempt by Haaland.
Public address announcing the attendance, 84,163. None of whom can be sure what the outcome is going to be in this 2025 FA Cup final.
I think it's fair to say there's been a lot more noise from one end of the stadium than there has the other.
Here's Wharton, that's emerging defensive discipline. They could do well to win it back and keep it from going behind for a corner, and then set De Bruyne and Bernardo Silva and maybe even Haaland here. Kind of run that he's hardly had a chance to do. It's so short of space. De Bruyne, Echeverry, parried by Henderson. Another great save from the English goalkeeper. The stop, a sensational start to this young man's career.
Well, unfortunately hits it straight at the goalkeeper. We're talking about passes. Here's another one from Kevin De Bruyne. on his right foot, straight at the keeper. It's a good save, of course it is. There was appeals for a handball. Don't think they're going to get that, Man City. Here it is again. Just takes a slight deflection off the defender, which takes it straight to Henderson. Certainly nothing wrong with that. Walton it is down in the box,
but not wanting treatment this time.
Ruben Diaz has got a yellow card.
Yeah.
For something he said more than anything else. He thinks that Crystal Palace are doing a lot of time wasting here.
Well, we'll see when the ball goes up. I'm sure that will be taken into account. We had the long stoppage for the VAR review. De Bruyne still the potential saviour and maybe even winner for Manchester City. Foden looking for firepower that he's had plenty in the past. Richards is there.
The ball should have come in from Akanji. Instead he passed the buck and played it to Diaz. Now it's a counter-attack on.
Ketia, who was fouled. The referee's seen that. Eze. Sarr chasing, but Ortega will get there first. And the advantage has been played. Echeverry. Now Doku. Looking for De Bruyne, stopping the counter-attack and taking one for the team, as they say.
He knew he was 1v1, he wasn't going to try and back off. He's going to stick his leg out, hopefully could win the ball. He didn't. Oh, these are big moments, aren't they, for that man there.
Yeah, Mark Bright on the right, of course, a fine player, played in that 1990 FA Cup final and replay. They lost to Manchester United. They were 8 or 9 minutes away from winning that. And Mark Hughes scored.
I think he then went on and played in a couple of cup finals, right? Cup final for Sheffield Wednesday.
He did. Against Arsenal. Trying to win a corner unsuccessfully. Palace are, well, to say coming up to 5 minutes, it's going to be at least double that, maybe even treble it. De Bruyne still probing, still organising, still looking for the magic moment. That wasn't it.
Just for a moment there, O'Reilly nearly made a tackle which would have got him sent off.
Here's Munoz, Sarr ahead of it. Here he is. Ketia waiting in the middle. The goalkeeper might have picked that up, but they're taking no chances. Eze, he explode upon the scene again as he did with the only goal 16 minutes into the first half. Lerma switching it all the way out to Sarr. Munoz, tight angle, flashed across the face of the goal. What a buccaneer of a right back he is.
He's got so much energy, and he picks the right time to make those forward runs. Oh, just bending away from the goal. Just watch the bend on this, which takes it away from the far post. Actually stays in play.
Will Hughes, who played in a FA Cup final for Watford against Manchester City, who very much on the wrong end of things. They were beaten 6-0 back in 2019. Comes on for Adam Wharton, who would love to stay and see it through.
Well, you have to take back what I said earlier on, because the two players that got hit by the ball in the head have both gone off. So obviously it has caused them a problem, particularly Gay, I would think.
3 minutes plus added time. And Palace edging ever closer to a first major trophy. But no one is taking that for granted. Eze. Nketiah. Good work by Ruben Dias. Had to get that right, having been booked recently.
Yeah, had Nketiah just lifted it over him, he'd have been in trouble there. It's Foden that gave the ball away cheaply, much to the annoyance of the fans to our right-hand side.
Another City change. To cheer their heroes across the line. Ilkay Gundogan. On for Bernardo Silva. And it's 2 minutes plus added time. Are giving chase. They can't pick up the second ball initially, but they do now through Kamada. Richards, Hughes. Might be tight for offside. Nketiah is offside.
Yeah, that time the assistant put his flag up fairly quickly. Just made his run a fraction too early. Man City was stepping up.
Ruben Dias. Backed up again in defence, Crystal Palace. Doku. Guardiola lets it run. It's back from De Bruyne to Doku. Can he get in behind here? Still going, Jeremy Doku. Foden. De Bruyne. It's a postcard of the match, really, as you look at the screen now. City on the ball. Palace locked into their defensive shape. Barricades up. Guardiola. O'Reilly's in there. And that's going to peter out, to the delight of Crystal Palace.
And it was offside as well. 10 added on minutes here, so there is chance for Man City to get back in the game.
I did suspect that.
And they've got to wait another 10 minutes, those fans.
It's definitely changed the element of the game, this adding on the extra time. Started really in the Qatar World Cup. Henderson been yellow carded for time wasting now, so a little bit more will get added on. It's a tough 10 minutes for Palace, but whose position would you rather be in?
Well, they've got the lead here. They're the ones that can lose it.
It's a stray header from Kamada. Foden looks a bit short of match sharpness. Ooh, that's gone out. Nine minutes to go. Doku. It was a rough and tumble, but Doku's not complaining. Guardiola is being checked by VAR. Akanji. De Bruyne. He's so tired he can't get there. All his work really, apart from the goal and one or two other efforts, he's been off the ball. Echeverry. Doku. done brilliantly. Header out by Lacroix. De Bruyne! Henderson dives, but didn't need to. Pep looks on with a little bit of resignation about what's going to happen here.
First touch is a good one, sets it up for himself, but just slices it wide. Comes off the outside of his boot, you see there. Just for a moment, he might have thought that was in, but bends away. Might not be the send-off he was looking for, Kevin De Bruyne.
Guardiola. There's a bit of a swipe. Munoz has left him down. City've got a free kick. They need him on his feet. And even when he's in pain, he sprints away. So athletic is the Colombian. De Bruyne. It's a lovely ball. Took too long over the shot. Just can't find the out ball. Eze is really out on his feet. And Nketiah, Sarr's on the right. Here's Eze. Holding off De Bruyne, needing help. Really needing help. He finds Munoz, who is the help, and he gets a free kick. And maybe that was the purpose of hanging on to the ball.
Well, he knew that Kevin De Bruyne was behind, he was just being booked. So he turned away from him. And in the end, it's the substitute, Echeverri, who goes into the back of him. That's exactly what Crystal Palace want. Just can slow it down again, get their shape.
He marks his debut with a yellow card at Wembley. Sarr. Every second vital for Palace that they can keep Manchester City this far away from their goal. It's not a free kick, it was a bit of deception attempted by Nketiah. Here's Foden. Ruben Diaz. Guardiola. Doku's not the most likely. He can get in behind Munoz. Can Hughes get there first? He does.
Sarr has done a terrific job out on that far side. Coming alongside the right back, the right wing back to stop Doku.
Doku again, the danger again. It came off Richards, parried by Henderson. Gundogan, back to Ruben Diaz. On by Foden, the Kanji can cross it first time. Haaland's right in the mix. Chance for handball from the City fans. And VAR, we're going to look at it. In the 96th minute. De Bruyne. Can City take it into extra time here and break the Crystal Palace hearts? Stout hearts that they've been. Doku with still the dancing feet. A touch from Ruben Diaz. And De Bruyne caught in possession by Eddie Nketiah. That handball, VAR check has been complete, nothing doing. In by Foden, and that's perfect for Palace. Imperfect for Manchester City.
Yeah, Foden saying to Doku, you should be coming round the back, which he should be. We just haven't seen enough of Haaland today from a Man City point of view. Has his movement been good enough in the box? Probably not, but he's been outstanding for Crystal Palace. His work rate, his energy. Yes, Doku has gone past him 2 or 3 times in this second half, but he's been outstanding.
The longest 3 minutes, I was suggesting, Crystal Palace's history is underway. Remember, in their 2 losing finals, they have led. And they've led here from 16 minutes to 97 minutes. Stuart Atwell's had a look at his watch. Remember the famous game at the Millennium Stadium FA Cup final when Steven Gerrard came on the scene right at the end to spare Liverpool's defeat, and they went on to win on penalties. It's kind of got that feel about it, but Manchester City are running out of time, and can De Bruyne beat Gerrard? Henderson should get that, it doesn't need to get it. Into the 99th minute, Stuart Robson.
Well, that sums it up really. Kevin De Bruyne trying to play a clever ball into the box. Doku didn't read it. Palace defended it quite well, and you have to say some of their defensive play today has been excellent. Hardly had the ball. They've posed 1 or 2 threats on the counter-attack, but when the ball's being played into the box, their back 3, I think, have been excellent. The midfield players in front of them, when he was on the field, Walton, Kamada, and of course the energy, particularly from their right wing-back. Munoz has been excellent.
Learn the setup. Given, and the game was stopped. We now are into the 100th minute, and Manchester City have to dig very, 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 very deep. De Bruyne still trying to come up with a trick to keep them in the final. Doku resisting the temptation to shoot. Ruben Diaz. Doku surely going to shoot now, and that it gets almost the biggest cheer from the Palace end. I had a great view of it where it was going to end up wide. Crystal Palace are on the very brink. He didn't look.
Well, I think he knows now's the time. The whistle will probably go as this ball gets played forward. What a moment for these Crystal Palace supporters.
And the whistle isn't blown, but it is now. There's a new name on the FA Cup. It's Crystal Palace.
The winners of the Emirates FA Cup.
Oliver's Army on their way to collecting the South London's club first major trophy. Emirates Ezer, the match winner. European qualification comes with it as well, Stuart. And an extraordinary defensive display led by goalkeeper Dean Henderson.
And the one time early in the game when they got it forward, they got it into Mateta, he held up the play. The goal was exactly how Glasner would have thought it to be. Centre forward links up the play, the right wing back gets forward, and Eze, who has been outstanding throughout the tournament, scores a great goal. 1 or 2 problems here. Pep Guardiola having to go at Henderson for time wasted. That's not great. But Henderson likewise has had a superb tournament. Semi-final and the final, he's been absolutely outstanding. And every one of these players deserve it, don't they?
That penalty save, of course, crucial. Glad all over has never been more appropriate as the club's anthem. But it is sad all over for Manchester City, summing up their disappointing season, falling short of their previously excellent standards. They couldn't stop. The Eagles have finally landed a major honour. The 144th FA Cup final produces the tournament's 45th different winner. Crystal Palace. Palace 1, Manchester City 0.
Well, what an astonishing achievement that is. As Martin was saying, the 45th different winner of this grand old competition. And Oliver Glasner can celebrate. And when Steve Parish appointed him, he said, he's someone who wins things. He's someone who changes things. And Palace finally have a trophy. Brought to them by that man, Ebere Eze. And some of those pictures in the Palace end, well, there they are. Just extraordinary. And these celebrations will go on, and if you're a football fan, particularly of a club of Palace's size, you'll know exactly what they're feeling, and you'd love to feel it yourself one day. Clive, that was something else.
An incredible FA Cup final, it really was. It's been a remarkable run. We mustn't forget they've only conceded 1 goal in the competition. It's been an exception. Big teams have gone by the wayside. Palace have stayed in there, they've performed well, and they've ended up winning the FA Cup for the first time.
And Dean Henderson arguably shouldn't have been on the field, but was just extraordinary. What a performance from him.
Absolutely, save after save. Yes, there's some controversy about the potential handball just outside the box, but he didn't lose his head, he kept his cool, and it was an outstanding goalkeeping performance from Henderson.
And let's be clear, referees refereeing the game, the VAR does what he does. Henderson can't do anything about that, so it doesn't tarnish his performance in any way. He might have got away with one, but he was simply magnificent before and after that. And he will rightly get all of the plaudits, and I suspect will be named player of the match. Eze was brilliant too. There were heroes all over the place, but the goalkeeper really is the one that's won them the cup.
Yeah, it was a fantastic defensive display, but you cannot take anything away from Dean Henderson. It was save after save that was outstanding. City had their opportunities, they couldn't take their chances, and Henderson played a massive, massive part in Crystal Palace winning this game.
Look at those pictures. Just extraordinary, and they're going to stay there for as long as they can, and so are the players too. And why wouldn't you? And the interesting thing is, you included, a lot of people were giving Palace a chance. I know City were favourites, but there was just a sneaking fancy that Palace could do something, and boy did they do it.
Well, Dave, they played to their strengths, and the way that they crafted their goal was playing to their strengths, up to the centre forward. Good hold-up play. They linked the play. It went out wide to Munoz, who time and time again runs relentlessly down the flanks, delivers into the danger area, and there's Eze to score a magnificent winner.
And Marquet had to come off, and still part of it, still part of the run, still his day too, still he who will lift the FA Cup. And Glasner, well, just magnificent. Got so much right this season, not just today.
Yeah, after a slow start, we must remember they didn't particularly start the season well, but as it's built, he's had a massive influence on the way that the team plays, the way that he's developed this group of players, and he is a winner. He knows how to win trophies, and he's lifted Crystal Palace's first in their history.
Where might this take Dean Henderson? A high-profile display like that can get you places. England international now, and who knows? He's going to be knocking on the door, isn't he?
Well, for those supporters, Dave, as well, European football next season.
Absolutely. And you wouldn't write this fella off either, and they're going to enjoy these moments. Lovely bond between fans and players. And when you've lost twice in the final, in the manner that they have, they've had it sort of ripped away twice by Manchester United. The famous one in 1990, that great game, and then 2016 with the Pardew dance. Well, they're all dancing now. And Mark Bright in that team in 1990, lovely man as well, someone we both know, and there he is leading the applause. He won't quite believe this yet, Mark Bright.
No, they won't believe it, but they better believe it. They've worked tirelessly this season. They've had an outstanding FA Cup run.
See Roy Hodgson and Gareth Southgate, both of course with major parts to play at Crystal Palace, and both with big smiles too. And there is Oliver Glasner. What moments for him. Such a calm character as well, and he said beforehand, as long as we express ourselves, as long as we stick to the game plan and play the way I know we can, the result is another thing, but I want us to do that, and they did do that, and it worked out for them.
Absolutely. I always say the team are a reflection of the manager, and Crystal Palace epitomise everything that he stands for. He knows how important Eze was. His goals have been massive come the end of the season. Semi-final goals, certainly magnificent goal today, which was a difference between the two sides.
Isn't this lovely to see the relationship between them as well? Having a bit of fun, weren't they? He said, I saw you doing something. Maybe it was holding onto the ball late on and winning that free kick, I don't know, but it doesn't matter. Soon they are going to have the thrill to end all thrills. They're going to be going up to lift the FA Cup. And when you've been through what Palace have been through in two previous finals, you'd have woken up with great hope. You wouldn't have dared wake up with any expectation. You'd have dreamt of this, and it's come true.
And they're never going to forget it.
Guardiola stays out there and fumes about the referee, but they were given a penalty that arguably shouldn't have been, but for some reason Haaland didn't take it, Marmoush did, and Henderson stopped that.
And Dave, could it be an unthinkable season where City actually achieve nothing, which would be almost unthinkable? They're in a position now where they have to try to qualify for European football.
Absolutely, because that is a long way from done, but it's not their day. This day's all about Palace. There's those Holmesdale t-shirts, you can see them, the Holmesdale end famously at Selhurst Park, and these players now, job done, can just enjoy themselves, can celebrate, can be a bit silly out here on the pitch, can thank their goalkeeper, and then we'll get that magical moment when they'll lift the FA Cup. For him, just desolation. I wonder what's going through his mind. I wonder if he's potentially thinking about, do I want to do this again? Do I want to go through another season? I know he said once he leaves City he'll have a break. You never know. Well, but David, that's not the story today.
It's been one of the toughest of his career. It has to be, but the jubilation, the joy is all Crystal Palace's.
And the thing is, it would be easier to have loads of sympathy about the goalkeeping handball, about the red card that wasn't, if it weren't for the penalty, because in a way that felt like the moment they had to claw that back to get the game back to 1-1. The wrong player took the penalty, Henderson saved it, and I know if Henderson had been sent off that early in the game, just after the half hour, well, City probably would have gone on to win, we'll never know, but still, they did have a chance, didn't they, of redemption in that moment, and they couldn't take it from the spot.
They had chances, not only the penalty kick, they had opportunities, but Henderson was absolutely outstanding in everything that he did.
And what a journey it's been as well for Steve Parish, such a popular figure, and he has led them so well, the chairman. He's made a great appointment as well in the shape of Oliver Glasner. So many good wishes for him, and good wishes all around the stadium. They're going to be lifting the real thing soon. He's brought his tin-foil one, but he's going to see his heroes lift the real thing. Fabulous moments for everyone involved at Crystal Palace. Let's put a seal on it. Let's get back to Stuart and Martin for the trophy lift at Wembley.
First up in the climb to the presentation area, the match officials, and then Manchester City, led by Pep Guardiola, who his emotions are never far away, are they? He doesn't really hide them.
No, he doesn't look happy, does he?
No.
Understandably so. Who he's not happy with, he had a go at Dean Henderson as he came on the field, which is not great.
And Kevin De Bruyne with just a couple of games, important games to play now.
But he was still, in my view, their key player. He was the one player that might have unlocked Crystal Palace. He produced 4 or 5 really good passes, but the players in front of him, the front players, didn't do enough. O'Reilly had a big chance and wasted it by wanting to take it onto his left foot.
Well, there are 3 consecutive cup finals now. Read, won, lost. That's only ever happened once before, between 1984 and 1986, to Everton, who beat Watford and then were runners-up to Manchester United and Liverpool. How similar this, Stuart, to the Carabao Cup final, with Newcastle landing a first domestic trophy for 70 years. In the domestic knockout competition, it's been a season of sensational surprises.
Well, in the Carabao Cup, the celebrations are still going on in Newcastle, from what I can tell. I know a couple of Newcastle supporters that live in London. They seem to be going up there every week to celebrate. The same will be happening in South London.
Well, he knows the focus will be on him, as he does as well. But the 2 games are home to Bournemouth, away to Fulham, to determine whether they will get European football in the Champions League anyway next season. They're out of that top 5 position, but they do have this game in hand. Everybody else that will feature in that, well, the vast majority of them have played an extra game. But it's sometimes when the passing is easy on the eye, but easier for the opposition, you wonder about the philosophy, the failure, death by 1,000 passes.
There just at times needs to be more urgency. You know, Manchester City have done brilliantly over the years. Pep Guardiola did it with Barcelona as well. But there's been occasions this season when the ball just needed to be played into the box, and players in the box need to make better runs. But that man there, what a servant he's been to Manchester City, and a brilliant player in the Premier League. Il Nay.
It is.
An actor.
And sending the message. Palace have won the FA Cup, and runners-up medals for those, some of whom, of course, have now got a second one after losing to Manchester United last season. Joel Ward, who's leaving Palace at the end of the season, but what a way to go out after a long period of service with a FA Cup winners' medal. He was in a word with Jean-Philippe Mateta. And that's what it's all about. And we mentioned his Royal Highness's Aston Villa affiliations. At least he can say they went out to the team that won it.
Yes, yeah, it wasn't a good performance by his beloved Aston Villa in the semi-final. They were outplayed by Crystal Palace. You can't say Man City have been outplayed by Crystal Palace today, but Crystal Palace got their game plan absolutely right in the end, defended brilliantly, and scored that brilliant counter-attacking goal so early on in the game.
Runners-up in 1990 and 2016, both times to a Manchester club, United. But they have seen off City with one of the great defensive displays I've ever seen in an FA Cup final. Yes, 1 or 2 moments that could have gone the other way went their way. But that's the destiny of football. It's the unpredictability of it. And it's good to see that Mark Gay is fit to go up the steps. Joe Ward has been a club captain and he's got the armband on. So he may well be involved in the presentation.
Kamada played his part, I thought, in midfield again. Unsung hero, because he didn't get on the ball that much, but some of his defensive work was superb, closing people down, just filling gaps.
To capture the moment. There are plenty of big cameras focusing on him, so it's all available, Jean-Philippe. And of course, seriously injured in the FA Cup. in the course at Millwall, caught by the goalkeeper. But fighting back. I don't know about his hearing, but his running hasn't been impaired at all.
He certainly hasn't. He posed a threat.
His part on the goal, Stuart, you spotted up at the time.
Well, because they hadn't got out their half at that particular point, and they decided they passed it to the back, they played it forward. He got hold of it, set it up once, set it up the second time. Munoz got down the right-hand side, and the timing of the run, the timing of the pass, everything was perfect from a Crystal Palace point of view. Lesnar couldn't have thought of it any better, could he?
I didn't see Mark Bright with tears in his eyes just after the final whistle. And here he is, Oliver Glasner. A man who knows how to win, as he showed in Germany. And an Austrian to have his name on the roll of honour in charge of an FA Cup winning team. Not just any old FA Cup winning team. Crystal Palace's very first success in this marvellous trophy, which again, Stuart, has produced a wonderful final, an amazing occasion, a match that was all about the tactics as well as the talent.
Well, let's talk about before the game, the atmosphere inside the stadium, how the game, the fireworks, the pyrotechnics, the noise, the sense of occasion, abide with me, everything today was magnificent.
You can never get blasé about these moments, but there are some sides that have won it a lot. It would have been City's 8th win had they triumphed today. When it's the first time, it's the special time. He had his go and came very close in 1990 as the manager. But there's been nothing like this in the club's 120-year existence. Their very first FA Cup tie as a Football League club was against Manchester City. And they were a third division team against the top division team, and they won. A giant killing act that in its sense that they're in the same division now. This has the feel of the underdog having its day.
Well, it has been a club that have gone up and down the leagues. In the 70s, they were in the third tier. Then they're going to be the team of the 80s, weren't they, at one point, when Terry Venables was the manager and they were producing a lot of young players. Didn't quite happen for them. One of those young players were sold and ended up going down. Terry Venables moved on to bigger and better things.
And there's the man who has done so much. Because you can defend for all your lives, but if you don't score, you don't progress. And they have defended. They've conceded 1 goal in this cup run. 1 goal. And Mark Gay has made his way to play his part in the ceremony, along with Joel Ward. His final act maybe as a Crystal Palace player.
He was just about to lift the cup there. He was about to put his hands on it. Joel Ward.
Touch it for luck. When you've won it, you can touch it for luck. Well, such an historic day for Crystal Palace. Football's Eagles have never flown so high. They're into Europe next season as well because of this very special team that have achieved the seemingly near impossible. The club that had never won a major trophy until today. Crystal Palace, FA Cup winners 2025. What it is to be glad all over, Stuart.
Absolutely. They won't feel any better than this. And this is going to last. The celebrations for Crystal Palace for quite some time to come. Them and their supporters. What a day for the players, the staff, the hierarchy, but most of all, the supporters that have been magnificent throughout this game and the whole competition.
A season that started very unpromisingly, and it's not quite ended yet because the league programme has a few more days to run. But it is this day that will be seen as the conclusion of a great campaign in the FA Cup, but the development of a team with a philosophy to show that there is a place for defending in the game, and if you get it right, you can go a heck of a long way. And that is what has taken Crystal Palace to these magical moments. He's not going to drop it, not Dean Henderson.
Not the way he's played in the semi-final and the final. Yes, he may have got lucky with the handball outside the box. That's a big moment that everybody will look back at. But he made some very good saves as well, particularly the penalty and that one from Doku in the first half.
Every Palace fan has stayed, as you can imagine. The City fans already on the motorways, I'm sure, back to the northwest, pondering on the way the season has gone.
Well, Ben Chilwell's going to hold the cup a lot. Hasn't had a great time since he's been on loan from Chelsea.
Yeah, but he was part of that Chelsea squad that lost 3 in a row. He didn't play in every game, but this is even as a non-playing substitute, you've got your medal. Eddie Nketiah now a winner with 2 clubs.
He hasn't got his camera with him anymore, Mateta.
Now the cameras are on him. Still calm. And these days, via the cameras being in all the places where we all want to go as fans, you can hear his team talks, you can hear the way he spoke to the players after they won the semi-final, and I'm sure if you look in the right places on the internet, you'll be able to follow what happens after this, up to a point anyway.
Yeah. What you didn't see there was that Pep Guardiola was out in the other half of the field, standing by himself for a long, long time. I think he's just made his way off the pitch now. But it's all about these players.
These are the moments that you hope can last forever if you're a player, being in the euphoria. A win is one thing, a Wembley win is another thing, but to do it against the most successful club in the country for a decade, and to do it by fighting tooth and nail from first whistle to last, it's truly extraordinary.
But how many times has that happened in the FA Cup? We were talking about a game in 1973 when Sunderland, second division side, or the second tier of English football at the time, against the mighty Leeds. And Ian Porterfield scored a goal. Wimbledon, you know, a team that was struggling in the top flight.
The crazy gang.
Crazy gang up against Liverpool, who were an outstanding team. They go and win the game 1-0. Laurie Sanchez with a header. Wigan here against Manchester City.
Yeah, it has a bit of the Wigan about it, doesn't it?
It certainly does.
Yeah.
That's why the FA Cup is such a special tournament.
It'll be on show at Selhurst Park, Palace training ground as well. The adrenaline rush, the winning feeling, so hard to explain, but it is so entrenched in professional athletes. Yes, they get well paid. Yes, they make sacrifices in their life at a time where perhaps you should be out enjoying arguably the best years in your life, but you do it for this. And Dean Henderson's had some downs in his career as well as ups. But if you work hard enough, the chances are there. and they've taken their chance today. What a great goal, by the way.
Yeah, super goal. I thought in that first period of the game, when they were struggling to get out their half, they weren't quite sure when Henderson passed the ball to Richards what he was going to do with it. He did the same when they passed it to Gay. How were they going to get out? On that occasion, they went long, and the Tete held it up, and then that enabled other players to go and join. And from that moment on, they were so clinical in the 3 or 4 passes up to the goal and the finish, of course.
Well, the stage is set on the pitch for the post-match photos. There's still disbelief around the stadium at that end. Well, somebody's printed these shirts, of course. Where they go if you don't win is another matter altogether. But, they did win. They have won. In one of the great stories of this season, and many a season in the FA Cup. A tale that will be told over and over again around South London. Not the most fashionable part of the capital, but certainly a place where the people know their football, and the club, despite some difficulties, has come strongly through. They're in the Premier League again next season, of course, and there was some doubt about that at the start of the season. They've got another target now, actually. They want 50 points from the Premier League. They're on 49. They've never got 50. They've got a couple of games to go, because the last one is at Liverpool on the day that they'll be forming a guard of honour, I'm sure, for the Premier League winners at Anfield. And that will be a foretaste of the Community Shield final looking ahead. Well, the Community Shield is obviously the FA Cup winners against the Premier League champions. And it will be Liverpool against Crystal Palace.
And it's not that long away, is it? We're still in this season. It's not that long away. August 9th, around about, I think.
Yep. Just in the man in the white shirt there, Terry Byfield's been at the club over 40 years. What a day for him.
The winners of the Emirates FA Cup.
One for the cameras.
Crystal
Palace. They turned Wembley into their palace today. Still disbelief amongst the fans, but total belief amongst the team. That's how they've done it. And I suspect there are a few decent dancers in there. Well, I hope you enjoyed being with us today. Certainly if you're of a Palace persuasion, you will have done. And I guess favouring the underdog might well have been with the majority today, but sympathies to Manchester City. But they missed a penalty, which might have changed the story. The story you're going to read about now is of the Eagles from South London, the FA Cup winners of the 24-25 season, milking the moments here absolutely deservedly. They are Crystal Palace Football Club. Well played.
Yeah, what a day, what a wonderful day to be a fan of Crystal Palace, to be a Crystal Palace player. Mark Gay and Joel Ward lifting that FA Cup. And Henderson, absolutely the hero. And there's a photo for the album, and there is the goal-scoring hero. And you can never take that away. Didn't just score in a cup final, scored the winning goal in an FA Cup final. What a day for Ebere Eze. What a day, Clive, for Crystal Palace.
Absolutely, congratulations to them. It's been a wonderful cup run. They've taken advantage of what you would say potential winners of the competition. As they've dropped, they've kept going. They've only conceded 1 goal. The most remarkable performance today. They only needed 1 goal, and it was jubilation for Palace and all their supporters. The first time they've ever lifted the FA Cup.
Yeah, just tremendous. Messrs Coppell and Smith, as happy as anyone inside Wembley. The hero was Henderson. It is Crystal Palace's day. So we can take a look at the highlights of what was a remarkable game that was full of controversy too. So let's see. Feels like a long time ago. A 4:30 kickoff on a Saturday for an FA Cup final. Manchester City starting strong. How different the story might have been, but for an early save that was followed by plenty of later ones from Henderson.
Yeah, and a wonderful first time De Bruyne cross met by Haaland, left foot volley, and a very, very good left-handed save from Henderson, the first of many.
Certainly would turn out to be. Then this corner, Gvardiol left unmarked. Not much power behind it, but still a good stop.
Yeah, it's a good save. I think he'd be disappointed he hasn't headed it down, but once again, Henderson in the right place.
Palace soaked up the pressure, and then this. Mateta held it up and got it back and pushed it wide for Daniel Munoz, and Eze arrived, and that would prove to be the winning moment. Not that we knew it then.
Well, Crystal Palace at their best. The quite fantastic counter-attack. The ball into the centre forward, who holds it up brilliantly. Mateta combines with Kamada. Then he sees Munoz on the run on the right, and he looks for the options. One touch, the second a brilliant cross, and Eze arriving to side foot home. He's been red hot recently, and that's probably one of the biggest goals he's scored in his career.
Opened the scoring in the semi, did the same in the final. Palace then wondered about chances gone. This being a big one, because again they roared forward on the counter. Eze misplaced this pass, but they still picked up the second ball. And this time Eze floated it for Munoz, and Sarr with the touch. And this time Ortega with the save.
Well, wonderful cutback, and it's just to the right of Gvardiol's right leg, and he drops on it gratefully, Ortega.
First flashpoint now. Haaland trying to go around Henderson. He handled. No red card because in the conversation the VAR said Haaland's heading away from goal, so it's not denial of a clear goal-scoring opportunity. Here it is again.
I think very, very unfortunate. Haaland touches it to try and take it round Henderson. He flicks that right arm out and scoops the ball away, and nothing given.
Then forward came City again. Lunging was Mitchell. Looked like he got a touch on the ball. Penalty given. Bernardo Silva went over. VAR confirmed the penalty.
Yeah, I think there's a touch there by Mitchell before he makes contact with Silva. The left toe plays the ball. The straight leg catches Silva, up steps Marmoush.
It wasn't Haaland, it was Marmoush, and Henderson saved brilliantly, and then the follow-up from Haaland, grabbed by the goalkeeper, but this is a top save with the right hand.
Oh, absolutely jubilation behind Henderson. Brilliant right-handed save, and then he's up so quick to deny Haaland, trying to turn that ball back into Marmoush's path.
And then a brilliant save right at the end of the first half. The dancing feet of Doku, almost beyond him, and he claws it away, and then a fabulous header from Gabe. Don't underestimate the contribution of that back line as well.
Yeah, the opportunity, tries to wind it into that far corner. Strong right hand and left wrist keeps that ball out.
Guardiola maybe just starting to wonder. But they started the second half like a runaway train. Savinho with the cross for Doku, just over. City piled on the pressure.
Half chances, but again, this time missing the target. When they hit the target, they found Henderson in great form. When they had opportunities, they fired wide.
And then Palace thought they had a second. The shot fired in Munoz powering home, but quite rightly in the end disallowed for offside. Sarr was in an offside position there.
Yeah, and it comes off of his thigh back into the path of Munoz, who side foots home at the near post, but clearly Sarr interfering with the play.
Munoz did well to get there and finish, but it didn't matter. There was the confirmation. Still City pushed. Haaland finding Echeverri. Eventually De Bruyne slipping it for him, and a good block once more by Henderson. The heroic Henderson.
Yes, a wonderful De Bruyne pass. The weight pass I thought was there to hit it first time, the touch. And Henderson again, his angle's perfect at the near post.
And that would prove to be the final chance. Slight deflection makes it an even better save. And so it was their day. Crystal Palace winning the FA Cup. Crystal Palace with a first major trophy. What moments for players and fans. So here are some statistics to leave you with. Look at that. 78% possession to 22, but 23 attempts for City to 7, 6 on target to 2, 7 corners to 1, and so on and so on. But in the end, it was Palace, thanks to Eze and Henderson, who won it by a goal to 0. Eze, the hero, with the winning goal. 2 shots, 1 on target, that was the one that matters. Only 2 touches in the opposition box, but he made great use of one of them. 87 passes completed in the end. 87% that should have been. Dean Henderson made 6 saves. It felt like more than that. 1 punch, 45 touches.